Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday and looking at a couple ideas of and something I'm always discussing is, what valuable thing could I be teaching in the classroom that is beyond just my subject matter of social studies? And even within social studies, we teach a lot about economics, but we teach this more in a philosophical sense, in a complicated, kind of abstract way. So we teach about economic systems, so capitalism, communism, and so on and so forth, individualism, collectivism, all these kind of things. What I've been trying to do lately is bring that back down to a more practical level. So in some of my classes, we started playing Cashflow 101, which is a game by Robert Kiyosaki, which is essentially training people and teaching them how to break out of the rat race. So within that series, I would like to have an additional set of videos and just kind of analyzing my own finances and showing and giving people a realistic idea of what to expect. Because on the internet, oftentimes what we can encounter is people who are making absurd amounts of money, and that's just not realistic. And the other issue with that is that oftentimes what you end up doing is comparing yourself to people who are maybe twice your age, three times your age, and who have been playing this game for, longer than you've been alive, particularly if you're watching this and you're one of my students for sure. So let's break down a pay stub. So what you're looking at in the background is not just random numbers. This is actually how much I get paid and how much I get deducted. So let's take a look. Over here, we have our earnings, and then we have our deductions. So the earnings is very simple. I get paid $280.37 for every day that I work. And because teachers don't work Saturday and Sunday, and quite frankly, most people don't work Saturday and Sunday, I have 20 units, so 20 days, which, doing the math, is $5,607.33. So that's very simple, very straightforward. Now, when I started working, when I was younger, like 18, 19, 20, I'd look at this number and I'd get so excited, like, oh my God, I got $5,600 paycheck. Sweet. What am I going to spend that on? Now, obviously, I didn't start by making $5,600 a month. Maybe it was like $1,300, $2,000 a month. But I would look at this number and I get super excited. As an adult, I slowly started realizing you got to pay attention to the deductions as well. Because this is where it hurts. First things first, biggest deduction, biggest expense, straight to the government. The tax man takes his share first. And every month I lose about $800 to taxes. And before we continue, we'll just make a little note here. You can whine and complain about taxes, and when you're making a certain amount of money and they're taking, a certain percentage of it, it's very reasonable, and especially based on, what type of work you're doing and what they're taxing. In essence, Gad Saad has gone into a fair bit of detail on that, and he's an author. That's a whole different set of circumstances. But if I just take this $800 and subtract it from my paycheck, I'm sitting at $4,800, which is pretty good. And this is going to be a tough thing to escape, especially when you're, I don't earn that much money, to be quite honest with you. But once you get into the bigger numbers, or once you become a business person, you have your own business, you're your own contractor, you can really start to learn the tax game and figure out how to manipulate those numbers to reduce the amount of taxes that you have at the end of the year. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go into that, particularly not this video, but that is something that you can consider. But it's always important to remember, at the end of the day, you want to be grateful for the fact that you do have money coming into the bank. And quite frankly, before I get taxed and even afterwards, I make more than most Canadians. So it's always good to keep that in mind. So let's keep going down. We also have employment insurance. So in case I were to lose my job and be jobless for a while, every month I'm paying $91 at the current rate that I have, what I'm getting paid for employment insurance. Canada pension, just in case I decided to, go down to Vegas and spend all my money and bet it all away and lose it all. Every month the government makes sure that they take a little bit and put it to the side so that I don't starve when I'm really old, or I don't have to work until I'm 75, 85 years old. And I'll make a point about this later. So the next one, ATRF, is Alberta Teacher Retirement Fund. So every month they take $506 from me, from my paycheck, to keep it on the side and to potentially give that back to me once I retire. And that's something I'd need to look more into, because if I stop teaching after 5 years, what happens to all this money that I'm paying? Because right now I pay $2,000 year to date, meaning since January 1st to today's April 25th, I've already paid 2 grand. Are they going to give that money back to me? I don't know. Something I'd have to look into. Here we have the extended healthcare, dental, vision, life, insurance, accidental death, extended disability. So I'll be honest, I'm not very financially literate, and I don't know why this numbers are zero, but we'll look at something else later on down below and look at the numbers there. Last but not least, Alberta Teachers Association full-time fee. So I get charged $118 for I get charged $118 every month from Alberta Teachers Association. So it's just paying union fees, union dues. And so if we're looking at all these numbers in combination, essentially what's happening is that $800 gets taken out for taxes, and almost, $900 to $1,000 gets taken out for this, coming back to social studies, this idea that is a little bit more on the political left, economic left, that we should have safety nets and protect individuals and make decisions for them. In essence, these retirement funds, these pension funds are designed to take care of everyone. Now, if you're like myself, I every month I make sure I put a bit of money, every paycheck I put away a bit of money on the side to invest, to save, to put it into my own retirement fund. Most people don't do that, right? And we'll talk a little bit about cash flow down below, but this comes back to the ideology of who should be taking care of you, yourself, or some other figure. Because quite frankly, I haven't met the people at the ATA. I haven't met a lot of people at the ATA who take care of my finances. I don't really plan on taking a lot of employment insurance, because I intend to be productive and working and making sure that I'm earning money. Canada pension, again, I don't really know how this thing functions, and my own ignorance shouldn't sway your decision. You should learn about these things, but I'm more of an individualist in the sense that I would much rather have this money coming into my bank account, because I feel like I know how to spend it better than other people do. I want to be able to spend that for myself. And you got to take the time to figure out, what kind of spender are you? Are you the person who saves every nickel and dime and doesn't spend everything? Are you the type of person who has a reasonable amount of savings every month so that they can still live their life and spend their money? Or do you just blow it all away and live paycheck to paycheck? Or even worse, do you spend more money than you earn every single month? So you got to consider these things. Now, let's scroll down. So every paycheck, I get deducted $1,832 from my $5,607, which leaves me with about $3,775. This number is important to know, because this allows you to start figuring out and calculating what your cash flow is. Knowing how much money you make every single month, particularly, if you work a standard job and you get a set amount of money every single month, is very useful and practical for starting to develop a financial plan. Okay, and I'll make another video about that in the future, and we'll talk about that. But sorting out what your monthly expenses are, how much money you'll be able to save, where you should live, how much money you should spend on rent and groceries and having fun. You really need to know this number with clarity, what your net pay is. If you don't know that number, it's very hard to get an organized plan. It's very hard to know whether or not you're spending more than you are earning, or not enough, or whatever the issue is that is unique to you. Additionally, I'll show you my employer paid benefits. So I'm very fortunate. I have a job that provides various benefits. So every month, my employer pays employment insurance as well. They pay the Canada pension plan. They pay for extended healthcare, dental, vision, life, and accidental death and dismemberment, extended disability insurance. So every month my employer pays about $763.47. And you could think of that in some ways as to protect their asset. They want their, like me being the asset, the person that works for them, although, I'm quite replaceable because there's plenty of teachers out there. This could be seen as a way to protect the asset that hey, we're taking care of you on the side. Maybe it's also an incentive like, hey, you should come and work for us because we're going to do all these things for you. We're going to give you insurance. We're going to give you dental and healthcare and all this sort of stuff. And so they spend a bit of money every month as well on my behalf to take care of me. So wrapping it up, again, you want to know what your net pay is so that you can start developing cash flow and figuring that out and becoming financially literate so that you can, as Robert Kiyosaki says, escape the rat race and not have to live paycheck to paycheck and have some sort of financial discipline, financial freedom potentially, and start to have more financial enjoyment in general. I hope you enjoyed this video, and this will soon become a part of a continuing and ongoing series. Thank you. Have a good day.